I looked at them both, breathless, as they entered my hotel room. My towel barely covered what needed to be covered. 2 brothers. 2 strangers. And I, caught between desire and common sense. Hello and welcome to another heart-pounding story between desire and decision. Take a quick moment to like this video and subscribe to this channel. It's the only way you could help us grow, and we greatly appreciate you for that. Where are you watching from right now? I want to know how far this story has gone. Now, let's get started. Let me take you back to how this all started. The shower water was scorching hot against my skin, but honestly, I didn't care. I needed something, anything, to take this edge off. I'd been trying for what felt like forever, moving in slow circles, but nothing was happening. Not the way I wanted it to. My back pressed against the cool tile. My chest was rising and falling. My lips parted while I tried again. Slower, then faster. Still no release. I adjusted my stance. One leg braced against the wall, trying for a better angle. My palm flattened. My breath quickened. I bit down on my lip when a tiny flicker of sensation sparked, but it faded just as fast. God, this was frustrating. I let out a sigh, but didn't stop. I kept going, shifted positions, applied more pressure, hoping something would build. My skin was on fire. My body was feverish. But nothing I did seemed to be enough. Have you ever wanted something so badly you could scream? Drop a comment below if you know exactly what I'm talking about. I even closed my eyes and tried to imagine someone, anyone, who might finally push me over the edge. But the images came and went like static. Too fuzzy. Too distant. My hands were starting to ache. Still nothing. I needed more. I was aching for it. Like my skin was too tight. My pulse is too high. And nothing, not even my own touch, could fix it. The need was screaming under my skin, but the tension refused to break. I groaned and slammed the water off. Annoyed with myself. With the hotel. With the stillness of the night. I grabbed a towel from the hook and wrapped it around my chest, maybe a little too forcefully. The air in the room felt cool against my damp skin. I walked over to the bed, dropped a fresh cloth over the sheets, and collapsed onto my back. My hair clung to my shoulders. My legs shifted restlessly. My chest rose and fell in shallow, irritated breaths. It wasn't just frustration anymore. It was hunger. The kind that builds quietly until it takes over everything. My thoughts drifted to the man at check-in. Tall. Lean. Older. Michael. Barely looked me in the eye, but noticed everything. And his brother, Jack. Broader. Louder. With that grin that lingered a little too long. Neither of them said anything inappropriate. But they didn't have to. My eyes flicked to the phone on the nightstand. Was it too much? Too obvious? Maybe not. Maybe they could help. I reached out, letting my fingers hover over the keypad for a second longer than I needed to. Then I picked it up and dialed the front desk. The phone rang twice before someone answered. Front desk, came the familiar voice. Calm. Polite. Michael, the same one who checked me in hours ago. Hi, I said softly, letting the word linger. I need help with something in my room. A pause. What kind of help? I smiled to myself. Could you come take a look? I think it's better if I show you. Another pause. Then, sure, be right there. I hung up before he could say anything else. Still wrapped in terry cloth, warm from the shower, I sat up and let my fingers drift along the edge of the fabric at my thighs. For a second, I considered changing. Maybe putting on that thin tank top I'd packed. Or that old shirt I usually wore to bed. But I didn't move. This was enough. Hey, if you're enjoying this story so far, make sure to hit that like button. And tell me in the comments, have you ever made a spontaneous decision that changed everything? Because I was about to. I walked slowly toward the door, letting each step settle me deeper into the moment. A knock came less than a minute later, then a second, firmer one. I opened it. They were both there. Michael stood slightly back, quiet, observant. Jack was closer, broad and solid, his knuckles still raised from knocking. Their eyes dropped almost immediately. I watched them take in the soft wrap, the damp strands of hair, the warm glow behind me. Something wrong in here? Jack asked, his voice low but polite. I didn't move aside, just tilted my head. That depends. Are either of you good with hands-on problems? Their expressions changed. Just a flicker, but enough. Confusion giving way to something sharper. Focused. I stepped back. Michael moved first, slowly and unsure. Jack followed, glancing between me and the room like he needed something to focus on. I closed the door behind them. The air felt heavier now. Closer. They lingered near the wall, posture uncertain. I passed between them, the edge of the fabric brushing against my legs, their attention drawn to every step. I didn't call because something was broken, I said. I just didn't feel like being alone anymore. They didn't answer. Still waiting. Still unsure. So I made the choice for them. Before we continue, hit subscribe right now if you want to know what happens next. And comment below where you're watching from. I turned to Michael and stepped in. He looked right at me but stayed completely still. So I reached for his hand and placed it at my side. Lightly. Steadily. He didn't pull away. His palm was warm. Calloused. Careful. Jack waited a moment, then stepped closer. His hand rested on my shoulder and slowly moved along my arm, testing the boundaries. I smiled. Let them feel how steady I was. How certain. Then, without a word, I let the wrap fall loose. It slid softly to the floor, and I kissed Michael first. The kiss deepened the moment our lips touched again. I pulled him closer with both hands at his collar, then broke away just long enough to grip Jack's shirt and draw his mouth to mine. Back and forth, I kissed them both. Slow. Deliberate. Letting them feel just how much I was in control. Their hands hovered, unsure where to settle. So I took them one at a time and placed them where I wanted. At my hips. Along my waist. Against the small of my back. I looked up at them, my breath warm against their necks. Take it off, I said, nodding toward their shirts. All of it. They hesitated for only a second. Then Michael pulled his shirt over his head. Jack followed, revealing solid shoulders, a wide chest, and a quiet urgency in the way his fingers moved. I didn't rush them. I wanted to watch. When they reached for me, I shook my head. Not yet. I moved to the floor, slow and sure. I started with Michael, my hands resting at his hips, lips parting as I invited him in. His breath hitched. His fingers paused, then gently threaded into my hair. But he didn't guide or press. I stayed in control. I set the tone. I teased him, tracing soft circles, letting him feel each shift in pace. His thigh muscles twitched beneath my palms. I listened closely for every sound. I wanted to make him work to stay still. Then I turned to Jack. He was already wound tight, anticipation running through him. I let my hand explore first, calm and deliberate, before leaning in again. His breath slipped out roughly. I paused, then gave him the same slow attention, changing rhythm, adjusting touch, never offering too much at once. I kept alternating, my focus on one, then the other, careful and intentional. The air felt heavy with concentration. Every second moved to my pace, my choices, but inside, I was still hollow. What I stirred in them didn't stir anything back in me. I gave and still felt untouched. Still unsatisfied. Have you ever felt like you're doing everything right but still not getting what you need? Drop a comment if you know that feeling. Bed, I said, standing tall again. Now we are moving together. Sheets rustled. Limbs shifted. I leaned back, but not to yield, only to lead. I stayed upright, pillows at my back, and gently pulled Jack between my legs, curling my fingers into his hair. He moved with quiet focus. Gentle. Steady. His mouth began to explore, soft and thoughtful. I closed my eyes and tried to let it carry me. Let it unspool the ache that had taken root. Michael stayed near. I reached for him and brought him close, brushing my lips over him again, syncing one rhythm to another. The room was filled with breath and movement and the hush of shared effort. Their hands were steady. Their mouths were responsive. Their focus is unwavering. And mine stayed silent. If you're still with me, wow, thank you. Make sure you've subscribed because you're not gonna wanna miss what comes next. I was flushed, too aware of everything, caught between wanting and waiting. Like running through fog, I reached, but nothing ever met me. I shifted, held one tighter, encouraged the other with my touch, my breath, my body. Still no release. Frustration bubbled, not at them, but at the craving that wouldn't ease. I let out a sharp breath and sat up. I eased myself into Jack's lap, settling down with a quiet exhale. His hands came to rest at my waist like he didn't know whether to lead or follow. So I took the lead again. I began to move, rolling gently, directing every motion. My hands anchored on his shoulders, my legs locked in. I shifted my hips over and over, searching for something just out of reach. I leaned forward, bringing Michael close again, and welcomed him into my mouth once more. They were all in, offering me touch, energy, and presence. I had every part of them, and still, I felt empty. I pressed down with more intention. Let my mouth move with more purpose. My whole body tightened around the effort, repeating, hoping, needing. My breath caught. My body lifted. I hovered on the edge, and yet nothing gave. There was no shaking, no wave, just fire, burning low and deep, but never breaking. Overheated, unrelieved, swallowed by sensation, and still starving for more. So I kept going, and still nothing. I locked eyes with them both and said what I'd been holding back. Don't hold back. Push me past my limits. That was all it took. No hesitation. No second guessing. Something shifted like they'd been waiting for permission all along. They moved fast together. I was turned, repositioned, and drawn to the center of the bed with firm, practiced grips. Their hands were everywhere, steadying me, placing me on all fours like I was meant to be there. One behind me, one in front. Their presence closed in, solid and inescapable. Jack adjusted behind me. I felt his hands firm at my waist, careful for just a breath. Then his body pressed close, forceful and sure. No more restraint. If you're enjoying this story, smash that like button right now. And subscribe to hear stories like this every single day. Tell me in the comments what time it is where you're watching from. Michael moved in front. His hand slipped into my hair, not tentative this time. He brought himself to my lips again, more certain, more intense. I welcomed him without hesitation, adjusting as he leaned deeper. My throat caught. My fingers curled into the sheets. They weren't matching my rhythm anymore. They created their own, and I had to keep up. His motion carried forward, steady and unrelenting, making my eyes sting with effort. Behind me, Jack's hands tightened, guiding me closer as his rhythm grew heavier. I tried to let out a sound, but it disappeared into breath and movement and warmth. There were no questions, no gentle touches, and I didn't need either because this was what I asked for. They moved in contrast, one guiding me forward, the other drawing me back. My arms shook from the effort of keeping up, but I didn't stop. They kept me close, held by momentum and urgency. When Michael eased back, I gasped, only for Jack to pull me in tighter with renewed intent. His breath was ragged behind me, his grip steady. He wasn't slowing down. Neither was I. My head dipped, my body curved inward. I lifted my gaze again, ready for the next wave. And they didn't make me wait. I barely had time to catch a breath before I felt their hands on me again, lifting, shifting, turning me like they already knew exactly what came next. They didn't give me time to recover. Michael pulled me upright while Jack raised my hips, adjusting me with steady confidence. I was dazed, breathless, my body pliant as they turned me onto my back, head tipped over the edge of the bed, legs loose and hanging, every part of me exposed to their intent. I blinked at the ceiling, the world upside down, barely able to register the shift before they were on me again. Jack stepped between my legs, finding his rhythm without pause. His movement was firm and immediate, like he knew exactly how to unravel me. My hands gripped the sheets behind my head. Then Michael leaned in, claiming my lips again with more urgency, guiding my breath as I adjusted to his pace. There was no control left, not even the illusion of it. I welcomed him as best I could, shifting with the motion, breath catching as tension climbed. My throat tightened, arms strained, breathing grew shallow. I couldn't speak. Every part of me responded, drawn in, swept up, alive. I tried to make a sound, but it vanished into heat and movement. A muffled moan stalled in my chest, caught beneath the pressure building in every limb. I trembled under the rhythm of their effort, unable to hold still. Then Michael paused, holding steady. His presence pressed at my lips, firm but controlled, while Jack kept going, measured, deliberate, each movement carrying sensation further. And suddenly, everything gave way. The pressure I'd been chasing all night finally broke loose. It surged through me like a wave, sudden and all-consuming. My spine lifted off the bed. My legs jolted outward. I let out a sound I couldn't contain, fractured and raw, as the moment overtook me completely. My body jolted with every ripple, and tears streamed silently, slipping toward the floor. But they didn't stop. Jack stayed in rhythm. Michael pulled back just enough for me to catch a breath, then leaned in again with a quiet guttural sound that vibrated through my chest. I had just broken apart, and they were only getting started. The sunlight filtered through the half-drawn curtains, dancing across my face. My eyes fluttered open, adjusting to the brightness. I was alone. Had it all been a dream? My body told a different story. Every muscle ached in the most delicious way. Evidence of a night I'd never forget. I stretched, wincing slightly as my shoulders protested. The sheets around me were a tangled mess. The room carried traces of what happened, a towel still crumpled on the floor, pillows scattered everywhere. Real. It had all been real. If you're still with me on this wild journey, hit that like button right now. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? You don't want to miss what happens next. I slowly sat up, running my fingers through my tangled hair. What was I supposed to do now? Checkout was at 11. I had meetings in the afternoon. Life was waiting to reclaim me. That's when I noticed it. A folded note slipped under my door. My heart raced as I padded across the room, picking it up with slightly trembling fingers. Dinner tonight. We're off at 7. M and J. Just 9 words. But they sent a shiver down my spine. Was I really considering this? Seeing them again? Outside the safety of this anonymous hotel room? I traced my finger over their initials. Michael and Jack. Brothers who had seen me completely undone. Who had taken me apart piece by piece and put me back together. I should pack my bags. Check out early. Go home to my ordered, predictable life. Instead, I reached for my phone and extended my stay for another night. Do you ever make decisions that surprise even yourself? Comment below with a time you chose the unexpected path. The hotel restaurant was dimly lit, with soft music playing in the background. I'd chosen a corner table, away from curious eyes. I was 5 minutes early, but they were already there. Both were standing as I approached. The dynamic felt different now. In the light of day, fully clothed, with other people around. "Hi," I said, suddenly shy. Which was ridiculous considering what we'd done less than 24 hours ago. Emma, Michael said, my name like it was something precious. His quiet intensity hadn't changed. Jack pulled out my chair. You look beautiful, he said, his confidence tempered with something new. Respect, maybe. We ordered drinks. Made small talk. The awkwardness was slowly melting away. So, I said after our second round, tell me something real about yourselves. And surprisingly, they did. If you're enjoying this story, make sure to hit that subscribe button right now. Where are you watching from? Drop it in the comments. Michael, the older brother, had been married once. A short, passionate relationship that burned out fast. He spoke about it without bitterness. Jack had never settled down. Never found someone who could handle us both, he said, then looked embarrassed. I mean, our personalities. We're a package deal in many ways. They'd grown up in a small town, raised by their grandmother after their parents died in an accident. They were 10 and 8. We only had each other, Michael explained. Learned to look out for one another. How did you end up working at a hotel? I asked. Jack laughed. Failed actors. Both of us. Came to the city with big dreams. Still have those dreams? I asked. Michael's eyes met mine. Dreams change. Evolve. The conversation flowed easily after that. I told them about my job in marketing. My small apartment with a view of nothing but another building. My cat, Oscar, tolerated me because I fed him. When the restaurant began to empty, Jack suggested we move to the hotel bar. One drink became 2, became 3. Michael's hand found mine under the table. Jack's leg pressed against mine. And suddenly I realized, this wasn't just physical anymore. I was starting to care about them. Both of them. The thought terrified me. You're leaving tomorrow. Jack's voice was carefully neutral, but I caught the disappointment. We were in my room again. Not for the same reason as before. Just talking. Sitting cross-legged on the bed, sharing the minibar snacks. I have to get back to work, I said, not meeting his eyes. Real life calls. And what is this? Michael asked quietly. Not real. The question hung between us, heavy with implications. I stood up, needing space. This is. I don't know what this is. Hey, if you're feeling the tension right now, smash that like button. And subscribe for more stories that'll keep you on the edge of your seat. It could be something, Jack suggested. If you wanted it to be. I laughed, the sound harsher than I intended. Something. What exactly? The 3 of us in some kind of arrangement. Would that be so terrible? Michael asked. I stared at him. It's impossible. Why? Jack challenged. Because people don't do this. 2 brothers and 1 woman? It's not normal. Normal is overrated, Michael said softly. And what happens when you get bored with me? I demanded. When the novelty wears off. Jack stood now, too. Is that what you think this is? Novelty. What else could it be? My voice cracked. Connection, Michael said simply. Something rare. I shook my head, tears threatening. I can't do this. I can't get hurt again. Again. Jack caught the word. And suddenly I was telling them about David. How he'd promised forever, then left when things got difficult. How I'd closed myself off after that. How safe it felt to be alone. We're not David, Michael said. No, I whispered. You're potentially twice the heartbreak. The silence that followed was deafening. I checked out at 10:58 the next morning. Neither Michael nor Jack was at the front desk. A young woman with a bright smile processed my bill. Enjoy your stay, she asked cheerfully. I nodded, unable to speak past the lump in my throat. The taxi was waiting. My suitcase felt heavier than when I arrived. I slid into the back seat, gave the driver my address, and watched the hotel shrink in the rear window. My phone buzzed in my purse. Then again. 2 messages. I didn't look at them. Couldn't. If you're feeling the pull right now, the tension of wondering what she should do, hit that like button. Have you ever had to make a choice this difficult? Tell me in the comments. The city streets blurred together. The driver made small talk. I responded on autopilot. My apartment was exactly as I'd left it. Oscar greeted me with his usual indifference, then demanded food. Life resumed. Meetings. Emails. Takeout dinners. Netflix before bed. But the messages remained unread, burning a hole in my consciousness. 3 days later, I finally looked. Michael, the door is always open. No pressure. No expectations. Jack, you changed us. Whatever you decide, thank you for that. I read them over and over until the words blurred. Then I did something I'd never done before. I called my boss and requested a week off. Effective immediately. Sometimes choices aren't about logic. They're about listening to the voice inside that knows what you need, even when it terrifies you. I packed a bag, ordered a taxi, and headed back to the Meridian Hotel. Room for one, the receptionist asked. I hesitated. Actually, I'm here to see someone. Two someones. Michael and Jack. Her eyebrows rose slightly. They are working the afternoon shift. Should be in the staff room on break right about now. Down that hallway, last door on the left. I thanked her, heart hammering as I followed her directions. The door was partially open. I could hear their voices before I saw them. Think she's okay? Jack was saying. Hope so, came Michael's reply. But it's her choice. Has to be. If you've stuck with Emma through her journey, hit that subscribe button right now. You don't want to miss our next story tomorrow. I knocked gently. The conversation stopped. Michael opened the door wider, his expression transforming when he saw me. Emma, he breathed. Jack appeared behind him, eyes wide with surprise. Can I come in? I asked. They both stepped aside, making room for me in the small break room. I've been thinking, I said when the door closed behind us. About impossible things. They waited, giving me space to find my words. I don't know how this works, I continued. I don't know if it can work, but I'd like to try. Try what exactly? Jack asked, a hint of his old grin returning. Us. This. Whatever it is. Michael stepped closer. You're sure? I nodded. I'm not promising forever. I'm just promising now. Today. And maybe tomorrow. That's all anyone can promise, Michael said. Jack reached for my hand. One day at a time. I took a deep breath. One day at a time. 6 months later, we're still figuring it out. There are complications, of course. Explaining to friends. Finding time together. Navigating jealousy when it arises. But there are beautiful moments too. Lazy Sunday mornings with tangled limbs. Late-night conversations that stretch until dawn. The safety of being fully known and accepted. It's not conventional. It's not always easy. But it's ours. And for now, that's enough. So, what would you do if you were Emma? Would you have taken the risk on something unconventional but real? Or would you have walked away? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this story, please like and share it with someone special in your life. Your support means everything to this channel. Subscribe now to catch our daily stories and join our community of romantics and dreamers. We've got something new for you every single day, and trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. Stay tuned.